Welcome to our career clip on MMIs. The MMI, or Multiple Mini Interview, is an interview format that is used to assess an individual's suitability for medical and health-related professions. The MMI is designed to determine if you have the abilities and qualities needed to be a successful professional in the field of your choice.
Important personal qualities that are being evaluated include things such as altruism and integrity. In addition to these important skills, interviewers are observing whether you have an awareness of fundamental ethical principles such as do no harm and autonomy. Interviewers are also looking for general knowledge of important societal issues and how they relate to your particular field. Examples of possible issues for health-related professions include Indigenous health, physician shortage, wait time for treatment, and public versus private care.
To prepare effectively for the MMI, review your program's application process to identify the unique qualities they look for, as this will differ depending upon the program and the school. Learn about key competencies relevant for your program of study. For example, for medicine, this might include CanMed roles and AAMC core competencies. Third, identify and write about situations in your life where you have experienced an ethical dilemma, resolved a conflict, oversaw a project, overcame a significant challenge, made a mistake, and been part of a team.
Practice answering various types of questions out loud by yourself and with peers under time conditions. Be sure to obtain feedback on the clarity and thoroughness of your responses from others. And lastly, a few days prior to the interview, think and reflect upon your personal experiences and how they demonstrate the qualities and characteristics that the program is looking for.
Along with these general guidelines, it is important to have the specific strategies for handling the various types of MMI interview questions that you will encounter. For scenario questions, the MMI Questions book by MSc Medical suggests organizing your responses as follows. First, briefly summarize what the prompt is. Next, identify what the key issues are in the scenario, such as do no harm or confidentiality. Third, discuss what information is needed to make the best possible decision. This might involve obtaining information from the central character and/or from peripheral individuals in the scenario. Fourth, discuss possible courses of action that can be taken to resolve and address the problem. When doing so, it is important to discuss the pros and cons of each, as well as highlight what action you would take and why. For role-play scenarios, begin by building rapport with the actor through use of empathetic body language and asking open-ended questions to engage the person. For scenarios that involve delivering bad news, begin by assessing the person's emotional state. When problem solving with others, ask questions that encourage the person to generate their own solutions to the problems they face.
When it comes to traditional interview questions, structure your answers using the STAR format. Start by explaining the details of the situation, then mention the tasks or challenges you had to face, and the actions you took to resolve it. Finally, describe the conclusion or result. Be sure to state the learning outcome and takeaways you gained. For communication or collaborative scenarios, you may be required to guide someone to perform a task with only verbal instructions, such as drawing a picture or solving a puzzle. Be sure to explain the task in detail to the other person before giving instructions. As well, collaborate with the person to create a plan of action. Throughout the scenario, be sure to check in with the other person to make sure that they understand your directions.
Now let's review some important tips for being your best during the day of the MMI interview. Number 1, realize that it is normal to feel anxious during the interview, acknowledge your feelings, and even reframe your anxiety as excitement. It can also be helpful to learn and practice some stress-reducing strategies beforehand, such as mindfulness and breathing exercises. Dress professionally, but be sure you are comfortable in the clothes you select, as you'll be wearing the outfit all day.
Thirdly, read the prompt for each station very carefully and take notes if allowed or required. It can be helpful to memorize the prompts when practicing. When you enter the room, greet the interviewers, introduce yourself, and shake hands. Assume a confident body posture and maintain eye contact, but be prepared for them to not show any emotion or smile.
For the most part, interviewers may not know much about you except your name, so don't assume that they know your background or experiences. Fill in all the details in your responses. Therefore, treat each station as a separate job interview. If you don't do well on one station, you are still able to do well overall, because each interviewer's rating can vary and they are not shared amongst each other. Number 6. When answering questions, imagine that you are in a conversation with a familiar person. However, avoid using slang and fillers such as ums and like. If you are struggling with a response, it is okay to acknowledge that you find it challenging, or if you make a mistake, it is okay to point it out and to correct yourself. Avoid speaking in generalities. Rather, integrate specific experiences from your life into your responses where appropriate. Speak genuinely about them. While it can be tempting to try and give the right answer, give an answer that you believe in and that reflects how you would act in real life. By doing so, you'll be perceived as authentic and be more likely to impress the interviewers. This brings us to our last point. View the MMI as an opportunity and not a threat to being admitted into medical school or other health-related programs. Even better, view the MMI as a fun challenge or a series of levels in a game. Please feel free to book an appointment with us if you'd like to practice and get some feedback. Good luck!